For years, rumors have swirled that Meghan Markle's relationship with her mother, Doria Ragland, is far from harmonious. In recent public appearances, Doria seemed reluctant and visibly uncomfortable being pushed into the spotlight by her daughter, the woman once dubbed the fake Duchess. It's a clear sign of the growing distance between them. The tension reached its peak when Meghan revealed a shocking confession from her own mother, changing the way the world saw her entirely. If you've ever wondered about the truth behind their complicated bond, leave a 1 in the comments and take another look at Meghan Markle's wedding photos this time. Look closely because every glance might hold a story of its own. We've known for a long time that Meghan Markle's relationship with her mother, Doria Ragland, hasn't been exactly smooth. In several recent public appearances, Doria appeared visibly uneasy, as if being pressured by her daughter, the so-called fake Duchess, to show up. What does that say about their relationship today? I'd say it's probably not in a good place. Since then, many events have unfolded, making the tension between mother and daughter increasingly evident. One striking moment came when Meghan accidentally revealed to the world that her mother, Doria Ragland, had made a shocking confession, one that completely changed everything we thought we knew about Meghan. Take a moment to revisit Meghan Markle's wedding photos. Don't just scroll past them, but look closely, because every frame might reveal more than meets the eye. One photo from the Windsor Castle wedding, attended by 600 guests, stands out immediately. Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, sat completely alone. No, this wasn't by chance, it was deliberate, and it tells a story most people have overlooked. Meghan didn't achieve this level of success on her own. It came through marrying a wealthy, powerful, and influential man, Prince Harry, which granted her entry into the world's most famous royal family. Picture the scene: the entire royal family seated on one side, mingling with Hollywood stars, while a single woman, Doria Ragland, quietly represented Meghan's family. Doria wasn't just a guest. She was the only member of the bride's family in attendance. It was an emotional, deeply symbolic moment, one that said everything without words. But soon after reports surfaced that Doria attended a Beyoncé concert without Meghan, and without even telling her. It was a small act that spoke volumes, revealing the growing tension between mother and daughter. Now let's talk about Thomas Markle, the man who was supposed to walk Meghan down the aisle, but ended up causing one of the biggest pre-wedding scandals of the decade. Just 5 days before the ceremony, the world watched paparazzi photos showing Thomas preparing for the big day, reading newspapers about the royal wedding, trying on his tuxedo, and strolling around as if rehearsing for a Hollywood movie. But the shocking truth soon came out. Those images weren't spontaneous at all. They were staged, reportedly linked to a $100,000 payment and a carefully planned media scheme. Can you imagine it? The palace had planned every detail of the royal wedding with precision, and then this storm hit out of nowhere. The British press had a field day. Every major paper ran headlines questioning Thomas's motives, throwing the entire ceremony into chaos. The palace was forced to act quickly, seating arrangements, roles, timing, everything had to be reconsidered. And who stepped in to save the day? Prince Charles, calm, composed, and masterful, took Thomas's place at the last moment, walking Meghan down the aisle in what became a true royal rescue mission. If you agree that Prince Charles's gesture was a noble and heartfelt act, leave a 2 in the comments. But if you believe it was simply a clever political move by the royal family, comment 5 and share your thoughts. The drama didn't stop with Thomas. Meghan's half-siblings, Samantha Markle and Thomas Jr., added even more fuel to the fire. Samantha, outspoken and unapologetic, despite her struggles with multiple sclerosis, gave countless interviews claiming that fame had changed Meghan and that the royal spotlight had driven her away from her family. It all began to feel less like real life and more like a reality show playing out on live television. Thomas Jr. took things even further when he wrote an open letter directly to Prince Harry questioning whether Harry truly understood Meghan's family drama and warning him about the trouble that could unfold at the wedding. Imagine being Prince Harry reading that letter. It must have been infuriating. These public statements were no small matter. They forced the palace to address issues that were normally handled behind closed doors. For decades, royal weddings had been known for their flawless planning precision and carefully managed image. But suddenly, Meghan's family drama became international news, front-page headlines, viral debates on social media, and every word analyzed under a microscope. Amid all the turmoil, reports emerged that the tension between Meghan and her mother had reached a breaking point. Doria Ragland allegedly declared she'd had enough and decided to leave Meghan and Harry's Montecito mansion for good. According to Radar Online, Doria felt used by Meghan, especially when it came to caring for her two children, Archie and Lilibet. Sources claimed Meghan even pleaded with her mother, saying, "Don't leave me," as Doria packed her bags and walked away, leaving Meghan and Harry feeling abandoned. The 68-year-old yoga instructor had moved into the Sussexes' sprawling California estate in 2024 to help them through a difficult period, but now she reportedly longs to return to her own life and social circle in Los Angeles. Back on the wedding day at St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle with 600 guests, including royals, celebrities, and dignitaries, Doria Ragland sat quietly alone on the bride's side. While cameras captured every dazzling detail, it was Doria's calm presence that told the real story. She wasn't just attending, she was carrying the weight of Meghan's entire family on her shoulders, representing decades of a mother's love, guidance, and unwavering support. It was a quiet kind of strength, one that never sought attention, yet effortlessly commanded it. Doria remained calm amid the storm stirred up by her ex-husband, Thomas Markle, and Meghan's half-siblings. She became the emotional anchor, the only person capable of keeping the family grounded in the chaos. Meghan chose her mother as the sole representative of her family, avoiding the extended family drama and awkward seating arrangements, just one woman who had always been her source of strength through every trial. Although their mother-daughter bond was once very close, especially during the period when Doria lived with Meghan's family to offer support, her departure in July 2025 revealed clear signs of strain. Meghan still posted a birthday tribute to her mother on Instagram in September 2025, showing that they remained in contact, yet sources suggest Doria had grown weary of her daughter's constant drama. This may point to a more complex family dynamic, particularly as Meghan and Harry continue to face public and personal challenges, from losing major deals to enduring relentless media pressure. Harry has also seen Doria as a mother figure, a source of emotional strength and comfort. This was clearly reflected in Meghan's decision on her wedding day. While most royal weddings focus on filling seats, creating picture-perfect moments for the cameras and pleasing distant relatives, Meghan chose a different path. She made her mother, Doria Ragland, the sole representative of her family. There was no extended family drama, no awkward seating arrangements, just one woman who had been her steadfast support through every challenge. Doria was not just present, she was a symbol of loyalty and resilience. A source once said, "Doria is content with how the family is moving forward. She's ready to focus on her own life." Yet her presence alone was a quiet but powerful statement. It showed that family isn't about numbers, it's about presence, trust, and love. Doria embodied all of that. Sitting silently in St. George's Chapel, she conveyed a message stronger than any speech or toast could ever express. The palace clearly understood Doria's importance. They assigned staff specifically to ensure her comfort, guiding her through each step of the ceremony and making sure she was fully supported. Every detail from her seat placement to the timing was handled with precision and care. This wasn't just about logistics. It was a gesture of respect for the woman who had raised the bride. That respect was evident in every camera angle. The image of Doria sitting calmly on her own, carrying the weight of the family with quiet dignity, spoke volumes about Meghan's values more than any wedding gown, tiara, or bouquet ever could. However, tensions began to surface when Doria decided to move out of Meghan and Harry's Montecito mansion. According to one insider, she had grown tired of Meghan's constant complaints and drama and felt she was being used to care for her grandchildren Archie and Lilibet. It's hard to blame her at 68. The yoga instructor wanted to return to her own independent life and social circle in Los Angeles. She planned to visit often, but no longer live with them full-time. Meghan reportedly pleaded with her mother, saying, "Don't leave me," and both she and Harry were said to have felt abandoned by Doria's departure. Doria had long been fiercely loyal to Meghan, even appearing in the couple's Netflix documentary as part of her daughter's story. However, she reportedly grew weary of Meghan's treatment of others and the constant stream of drama surrounding her. Known for her calm and grounded nature, Doria no longer wanted to endure the emotional toll. Some sources suggest that she once quietly encouraged Meghan to use the narrative of racism as a way to counter the media's criticism, but now she prefers to distance herself from the chaos entirely. Fast forward a few years, Meghan's journey to explore her ancestral roots drew widespread attention. A DNA test revealed she was 43% Nigerian, instantly sparking debate across social media. Fans, critics, and experts alike joined in discussions about race identity and public perception. Doria also contributed to the conversation when she commented on Meghan's heritage during an appearance on The Daily Show. What should have been a deeply personal moment to celebrate identity instead became a topic of public speculation. People began to question whether Meghan truly understood her DNA results and whether the database itself was accurate. What started as a family history exploration quickly turned into public drama. This journey was never just about science, it was deeply personal, tied to Meghan's sense of identity, belonging, and connection. Yet under the glare of public scrutiny, every word and gesture was magnified. It became the story of a woman trying to navigate the intersection of fame, family, and cultural expectation. Meghan and Harry's wedding became a masterclass in managing modern media chaos. In the age of social networks, a single tweet, an Instagram story, or a YouTube clip can send a narrative spiraling beyond the palace's control. Unlike royal weddings of the past, where press releases shaped the story, Meghan's family drama spread instantly and uncontrollably. Palace staff were forced to respond in real time, constantly adjusting statements and addressing waves of speculation as the story evolved. They learned that the old approach, quietly smoothing things over and hoping nothing leaked, was no longer effective. Modern family dynamics demanded strategy, foresight, and realism. The palace began thoroughly vetting family situations before major events, anticipating social media reactions and managing expectations with a careful balance between tradition and modern reality. The unforgettable image of Doria Ragland sitting alone at St. George's Chapel may have appeared lonely at first glance, but on closer look it symbolized loyalty, resilience, and the true meaning of family. Doria wasn't just attending, she was Meghan's emotional anchor amid the storm of media and family turmoil. She represented Meghan's past, her struggles, and the enduring support system that shaped her strength and identity. Meghan's wedding reminded the world that even the most glamorous events are layered with complex human realities. Cultural tensions, media scrutiny, family drama, and personal identity all collided in a single historic moment. Through it all, Doria Ragland, with her calm presence and unwavering loyalty, became the quiet center of the story, proving that sometimes standing gracefully outside the chaos is the strongest position of all. Harry also saw Doria as a second mother, and this was where Meghan's priorities truly shone. While most weddings focus on filling seats, looking perfect for the cameras, and pleasing distant relatives, Meghan chose a different path. She made her mother, Doria Ragland, the sole representative of her family. There was no extended family drama, no awkward seating charts, just one woman who had always been her pillar of strength through every hardship, from career struggles and family turmoil to the relentless scrutiny of the public eye. A source revealed Doria is content with how the family is progressing. She's ready to focus on her own life. Yet her presence itself was a quiet but powerful statement. It showed that family isn't about numbers, it's about presence, trust, and love. Doria embodied all of that. Sitting silently, she sent a message stronger than any speech or blessing. She plans to visit often but no longer live with them full-time. An insider said that Meghan and Harry feel completely lost, and Meghan must be wondering if something isn't quite right. The palace clearly recognized Doria's importance. They assigned staff specifically to ensure her comfort, guiding her through every step of the ceremony and making sure she was fully supported. Every detail, from her seating to the timing, was handled with care. But the truth is, she had grown weary of Meghan's constant complaints and ongoing drama, and so she had to leave. Can anyone really blame her? Honestly, could you? This wasn't just about logistics. It was about respect for the woman who raised the bride. That respect was visible in every camera shot. The image of Doria sitting calmly on her own, carrying the weight of the family with quiet dignity, spoke more about Meghan's values than any wedding dress, tiara, or bouquet ever could. Doria has always been fiercely loyal to Meghan. For a time, she even drank the Kool-Aid, becoming part of the narrative used in Meghan and Harry's Netflix documentary. Yet by choosing to prioritize her mother over appearances or royal expectations, Meghan showed the world that true family loyalty outweighs ceremonial perfection. And honestly, that choice has shaped how the public perceives her family and her life ever since. Doria has witnessed her daughter being exposed for lies, for how Meghan uses people and treats those around her. As a calm, yoga-loving woman, she has simply decided she doesn't want to endure it any longer. Meghan's ancestral roots sparked major attention when a DNA test revealed she was 43% Nigerian, a revelation that immediately ignited controversy across social media. Fans, critics, and experts alike jumped into heated debates about race identity and public perception. Doria added to the conversation when she commented on Meghan's heritage during The Daily Show. What should have been a deeply personal moment quickly turned into public speculation. People began questioning whether Meghan truly understood her DNA results, and even whether the databases themselves were accurate. In an instant, family history turned into public drama. This wasn't just a scientific matter, it was deeply personal, tied to identity, belonging, and connection. But under the relentless gaze of public scrutiny, every word and gesture became magnified. It evolved into a story about a woman navigating fame, family, and cultural expectations. Some observers argued that Doria may have unintentionally enabled Meghan's questionable behavior, especially her use of the racial narrative as a shield against media criticism. Meghan's family continues to serve as the backdrop for ongoing drama. The constant remarks from her half-siblings, Thomas Markle's past controversies, and Doria's steady presence all remind the world that Meghan's life is far from a perfect fairy tale. It's complicated, messy, and under constant scrutiny. Meghan has faced criticism for allegedly leaving much of the child care to her mother. And when Doria chose to take time for herself, like attending a concert, Meghan reportedly felt betrayed. The cultural clash between Meghan's open, outspoken American family and the British royal family's reserved, traditional ways created fireworks. Thomas Jr.'s open letters, Samantha's interviews, and Thomas Sr.'s staged photos all collided with the monarchy's expectations of privacy and dignity. The palace found itself managing not just a royal wedding, but a full-scale family drama playing out in public view. Royal staff had to handle more than protocol and tradition. They were managing a global audience armed with smartphones, cameras, and opinions ready to explode at any moment. Meghan has been accused of neglecting her children and leaving everything to her mother. But when Doria wanted to live her own life, Meghan reportedly couldn't accept it. The cultural divide didn't just affect wedding logistics, it shaped public perception. People watched the drama unfold in real time, comparing Meghan's background to centuries of royal expectations. Through it all, Doria, calm and resilient, became the quiet center of the storm. Yet even she has grown tired of Meghan's self-centered behavior and her refusal to accept that her mother deserves her own independence. In the age of social media, a single tweet, an Instagram story, or a YouTube clip can send a narrative spiraling out of the palace's control. Unlike previous royal weddings, where press releases shaped the story, Meghan's family drama spread instantly. Every detail from absences and letters to interviews went viral. The palace's communications team had to respond in real time, constantly updating statements and managing waves of speculation. The lesson from the wedding was clear. Family drama is public drama, and no plan can fully contain it in a hyper-connected world. The palace learned that the old approach, quietly smoothing things over, no longer works. They began vetting family backgrounds more carefully, anticipating social media reactions, and accepting that complete control of the narrative is impossible. Yet they also discovered the value of Doria's approach. A calm, respected family member can balance the chaos, bring a sense of continuity, and preserve dignity amidst the storm. The unforgettable image remains Doria Ragland sitting alone inside St. George's Chapel. At first glance, it might have looked lonely, but it was in truth a symbol of loyalty, resilience, and genuine family values. Doria wasn't just attending. She was Meghan's emotional anchor, carrying the weight of family history amid a storm of media frenzy and cultural tension. Meghan's wedding became a lesson in managing modern media chaos, and Doria stood at its calm, loving center, even as their mother-daughter relationship now faces new strains. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more royal stories filled with emotion and insight. In the world of high-level ceremonies, no detail is accidental. Imagine a system where each diamond is not just a gemstone, but a memory storage device. At the most extravagant royal party of the year, where the stillness of tradition envelops every entity, a variable has emerged. The biggest question currently dominating analytical forums is, can a piece of jewelry carry the weight of a soul? When Princess Catherine entered the presence of the lover's knot, tiara seemed to transcend mere fashion choices. It was like an invisible wave frequency, suddenly activated, connecting reality with a past that many had perhaps hoped would remain dormant. There are unverified opinions suggesting that the moment the crown appeared under the lights, the entire psychological structure of the auditorium was altered. We are not talking about individuals. We are analyzing the clash of heritage lines. Many observers hypothesize that Catherine donning Diana's shield of light seems to have created a rupture in the attempt to establish a new order. Rumors began to circulate a fleeting smile or even tears behind closed doors from Queen Camilla. But was it personal weakness or a natural reaction of a system facing an overwhelming legacy ghost? Let's pose an investigative question. What happens when a current monarch faces the symbol of someone who has become a legend? For Queen Camilla, the presence of the lover's-knot crown was perhaps more than just beauty. Some socio-psychological analysts hypothesize that this is a reminder of an unfillable void. Her name is intrinsically linked to the upheavals of the past, and the appearance of Diana's memorabilia on the next generation is like a historical reenactment, a scenario where public affection seems to always have a unique place to reside. Could this be a subtle arrangement of time? The crown itself cannot speak, but within the narrative system, it has the power to amplify the truth. F. Catherine, with her grace and rising status, seems poised to inherit not just the jewelry, but the very energy Diana left behind. Meanwhile, a perplexing question arises. While an entity may wield the scepter administrative power, can they truly possess the spiritual legacy, something the system cannot automatically transfer to its successor? That night at Buckingham Palace was more than just a party. It was a display of political and emotional power. The crown did its job. It not only glittered, it reclassified positions in the hearts of the fans. We may never know exactly what happened behind closed doors, but one thing is clear in the royal chessboard: sometimes a small item can have the power to change the entire emotional landscape. And you, which theory do you believe? Is this a mere coincidence or a carefully calculated silent message to assert the future? Leave your opinion in the comments so we can unravel this mystery together. Within the realm of high-level rituals, it is hypothesized that when a treasure is bestowed, it ceases to be personal possession. It becomes a fusion of physical form and spiritual symbolism. For Queen Camilla, the moment she saw Catherine wearing that crown was perhaps more than just a ceremonial event. Many systemic observers believe it was a grim confirmation of an impenetrable space. Some things belong to administrative hierarchy, but others belong solely to spiritual connection. A major question arises: is this the final boundary that even the status of a queen cannot cross? Why, with the same piece of jewelry, is the effect so drastically different? Catherine is not just adorning herself with diamonds, she is activating a stream of memories. She seems to have found a perfectly compatible frequency with her late predecessor. When the crown appears, the public sees not just a modern figure, but a continuation of compassion and iconic style. D. Meanwhile, despite holding supreme privileges, Queen Camilla seems to face an invisible barrier. A piece of jewelry can be passed on according to law, but the emotional connection is something that cannot be copied or possessed. You can own the physical object, but you don't necessarily own the source code of the story behind it. Why is a treasure with the greatest emotional impact not in the hands of the person with the highest status? According to post-Balmoral procedures, Queen Camilla should have had the priority of choice. So what happened? Some unverified sources suggest that the late Queen Elizabeth II established a soft power transfer strategy years ago. The crown wasn't left behind, it was a carefully calculated promise. Did Camilla deliberately refuse to avoid a direct confrontation with the ghost of the past, a clever choice to protect the system from unnecessary chain reactions? In the world of symbols, it's believed that objects possess sentience, seeking out the heir with the most compatible frequency. In the mathematics of power, titles are fixed variables, but in the mathematics of the crowd, resonance is the decisive variable. Catherine wore the crown, not just an object. She wore a promise of the future. This created a powerful visual effect, causing people to forget the orthodox reality and focus on a vision of succession. Conversely, Queen Camilla seems to be facing a phenomenon of light scattering. Despite appearing with the most powerful weapons, such as the crown of the late Queen Elizabeth II, to affirm stability and loyalty, the frequency of response from the public was extremely weak. SL. Why? Because in the age of new media, history can be presented, but emotions must be connected. We are witnessing a rare phenomenon when a figure of lower official standing holds a higher symbolic power. Catherine doesn't need to speak. The crown on her head is the perfect speech. The final question we need to ponder is, can a monarchy function effectively when the hearts of the people and the official scepter lie on opposite sides? Are there emotional territories that even the title of queen is permanently forbidden from entering? Some analysts believe that Diana left behind more than just memories. She left behind an incredibly powerful legacy code within the system. Every time Princess Catherine appears wearing the iconic tiara, a psychological resonance occurs. The public doesn't just see the sparkling diamonds. They see a modern translation of Diana's kindness, empathy, and the ups and downs she experienced. Many believe that when they look at Catherine, they see a calmer, more steadfast version of the past. This creates an invisible challenge for Queen Camilla. Although she remained devoted to King Charles, fulfilling all her duties with remarkable steadfastness, there seemed to be a frequency gap between her and the public. There's an unspoken truth in the world of iconography. Public affection isn't something that can be produced through mere effort. Catherine didn't try to seize that position. She seemed to have been chosen by the system to be the successor. Her composure under pressure and her ability to connect without words built a solid network of trust. When she donned Diana's favorite crown, it wasn't a performance. It was an affirmation of continuity. While Camilla wielded official power and formal ceremonies, Catherine held the most powerful force in a modern monarchy, voluntary admiration. And this is the crux of all the theories. Why did such a powerful and emotionally significant symbol belong to Catherine hierarchically? Queen Camilla had priority rights in the selection of royal treasures. So what happened in the palace's closed-door meetings that led to the lover's knot tiara, an item capable of changing the emotional landscape, being passed on to Catherine instead of the head of state R? Within this space of hypotheses and the clash of symbols of power, your perspective is the final piece to complete the systemic picture. Faced with the contrast between legitimacy of title and emotional belonging, how do you perceive the positions of the characters in this scenario? If you believe that heritage, aura, and natural connection are irreplaceable forces of power, leave comment number 2. Conversely, if you believe in the value of perseverance and persistent effort to establish a place within the legitimate order, leave comment number 5. Don't forget to like and subscribe now, so we don't lose touch on our next journeys, deciphering royal codes. Was there a strategic arrangement to protect the Queen's image from overly harsh direct comparisons, or was this part of a pre-planned future positioning scheme orchestrated by the late Queen Elizabeth II to ensure the dynasty's survival through public favor? In the shadows of Buckingham Palace's most fortified vaults, there are objects that exist more than just in physical form. They are memory entities. Let's hypothesize what happens when a piece of jewelry carries within it too many emotional frequencies of its previous owner. The Lover's Knot tiara didn't just start with Diana. It's a legacy design from 1914 for Queen Mary passed down to Queen Elizabeth II before becoming a part of the destiny of the Princess of Wales. But its history is more than just a series of dates. It's a journey of resonance and pain. One detail that system analysts often note: the tiara is renowned for its opulent beauty, but also carries a terrifying physical weight. Many discerning observers suggest that the sheer weight of the pearls and diamonds on the tiara accurately reflects the pressure Diana endured within the royal system. Despite the physical pain caused by the object, Diana never showed a crack in her grace. She transformed a burden into a symbol of existence. Each time she appeared with it, the system seemed to send a signal: I am still here despite all the crushing pressure. After the traumatic events of 1997, this treasure suddenly disappeared. It wasn't just put away in a glass case, it was isolated from reality. For 18 years, the crown lay silently in the shadows, as if the system were trying to let the painful memories associated with it fade into oblivion. Until 2015, an energy shift occurred. The reappearance of the tiara on Catherine's head was not just a fashion event, it was a systemic shock. People asked, why now and why Catherine? This is the key point that theories of hidden power stratification focus on. According to official protocol, Queen Camilla always had absolute priority in accessing the personal jewels of the late Queen Elizabeth II. Why would someone holding the first choice allow the most iconic, most powerful piece of jewelry to fall into the hands of someone of lower rank? Was there perhaps a silent agreement behind the palace walls? Some experts hypothesize that Catherine's possession of the crown was not a random concession. It was a strategic decision by the system to reposition the legacy. Catherine wasn't just wearing the crown, she was performing a ritual of spiritual migration, bringing Diana's spirit back to reality in a more harmonious and calm way. Meanwhile, Camilla's avoidance of the crown could be seen as a clever act of self-defense, an attempt to avoid being consumed by the overwhelming brilliance of her predecessor. This silent battle isn't decided by titles, but by the conquest of space in the public mind. The Lover's Knot crown has chosen a new host to continue its story. Even though Camilla holds the highest title in the game of icons, sometimes emotional belonging is the true crown that no one can take away. In a system driven by centuries of tradition, no division is random. Imagine a vast treasure trove, from crowns studded with thousands of diamonds to brooches steeped in history. According to the hierarchy of preferences theory, Queen Camilla, as the head of the female line, holds the power of first choice. But this is where an unexpected variable emerges. Why didn't the person holding the priority choose the item with the strongest media dominance? Potential unverified sources suggest this wasn't simply a concession, but the result of a long-programmed inheritance algorithm. Is there a secret behind why the Lover's Knot crown fell to Catherine instead of Camilla? Many observers question whether the late Queen Elizabeth II left behind a secret instruction. Some analyses suggest that the late Queen may have seen in Catherine a perfect frequency compatibility with Diana's legacy. Giving the crown to Catherine was not merely a gift but a soft power weapon to protect the future of the monarchy. Another possibility is, did King Charles III make a balancing act? By supporting Catherine in retaining Diana's mementos, he may have been subtly building a bridge between a painful past and a stable future through a woman whom the public wholeheartedly trusted. Let's look at the outcome of this division as a case study of the distribution of influence. In a meticulously designed system to preserve the dynasty's survival, the allocation of these diamond entities appears to be a strategy of polarizing symbolic power. On one side is Queen Camilla, entrusted with holding historical archives, such as the Greville crown or Queen Mary's jewels. These treasures serve as solid pillars, affirming the absolute legitimacy and stability of the monarchical structure in reality. However, at the opposite extreme, Princess Catherine was entrusted by the system with items capable of activating powerful emotional frequencies, notably the Lover's Knot tiara and Princess Margaret's memorabilia. Observers of the system hypothesize that this is a sophisticated arrangement for Catherine to hold the code of connection with the public. A silent but decisive division, one represents the administrative power of the present, while the other represents the spiritual legacy and the breath of the future. While Camilla possesses more opulent and historically significant royal items, Catherine possesses items that speak. As an unwritten rule among observers, in the royal world, the most valuable item isn't measured by the number of carats of diamonds, but by the weight of the story behind it. This division seems to have redrawn the map of influence within the palace. Camilla's retreat in this symbolic race may be a shrewd self-defense strategy, avoiding becoming the target of harsh comparisons. The final question remains open. Could it be that these small pieces of jewelry are shaping who truly holds the future of the monarchy in the hearts of the fans? In the royal power equation, time is often the measure of loyalty. Consider a hypothesis about patience. An entity has spent decades navigating storms of criticism, silently enduring to finally claim the legitimate crown. That is the journey of Queen Camilla. However, the system always contains unexpected variables. Many observers have noticed a strange phenomenon. When Camilla's moment of greatest glory arrives, another light emerges and gradually takes center stage. Is there a quiet heartache in realizing that you may possess the crown, but someone else possesses the fairy tale? While Camilla held the ceremonial rites, Catherine seemed to have inherited the entire emotional current that the public craved. The Lover's Knot crown, when worn by Catherine, was not merely a material inheritance. It was likened to a broadcasting device, sending a subtle yet powerful message into the palace. A family heirloom originally meant to celebrate beauty had become a sharp visual weapon, SEC. It created a disruption in the psychological structure of the system. For inside observers, this appearance was not merely a tribute to tradition, it was more like an implicit affirmation of who was truly leading the flow of Diana's legacy into the future. What made this event a seismic event in the press and on social media, it was its originality. The analysis showed that Catherine was not trying to mimic or copy Diana. Instead, she seemed to be continuing that frequency with astonishing naturalness. Her composure, demeanor, and bearing have reactivated the public's deepest memories of a people's princess. This is the boundary that Camilla's legitimate power can hardly cross. She may appear at the most important events adorned with the most priceless treasures, but there is an undeniable reality: this crown contains a spirit that the system allows only one heir to inherit. Now we are witnessing a rare phenomenon in the system of royal symbolism, the migration of a symbolic spirit. Catherine was not merely the inheritor of a physical object, she seemed to have mastered the frequency that the legacy emitted. This is a kind of energy that cannot be borrowed or exchanged through any administrative protocol. Public opinion has put forward a thought-provoking hypothesis. For Queen Camilla, is there some invisible barrier that renders even the most opulent royal treasures silent when placed alongside the emotional power of the past? No matter how many treasures she possesses, the ultimate goal of belonging in the public consciousness seems to remain a territory beyond her reach. The impact of that moment was almost instantaneous. The internet not only exploded, but it also created a phenomenon known as time convergence. Comparative images of the past, Diana and the present Catherine, spread at breakneck speed, creating a perfect mirror effect. Phrases like "symbol of the modern people" or "heartbeat keeper 2.0" began to appear. At that point, the crown transcended the definition of a piece of jewelry. It became a locator, indicating who the public believed would lead the future of the dynasty. In the same banquet space, a test of attention was naturally conducted. Queen Camilla also appeared with another precious crown, but it seemed to have fallen into a dark zone of perception. System observers noted a striking contrast. While all eyes and global data flows were focused on the Diana frequency that Catherine was emitting, the presence of the head of the hierarchy was strangely discreet. Could this not be a coincidence, but the result of a silent confrontation between legal power and emotional power? And in this scenario, the world seems to have already answered for itself, which aura their hearts truly gravitate towards. In the ecosystem of high-level rituals, we often mistakenly believe that power lies in documented titles. But let's consider another hypothesis. True power lies in the ability to command emotional space. That moment carries a weight far beyond the physical dimensions of a diamond or pearl. It is the connection between reality and a collective memory. When Princess Catherine chose that particular treasure, she wasn't simply adorning herself. She is performing a ritual of synchronization with the heartbeats of millions, those who are still searching for a continuation of a legend that has never faded. System analysts believe there are two kinds of crowns in the palace. One is worn by legal ceremony, and the other is worn by public recognition. For Queen Camilla, the presence of the crown on Catherine's head is perhaps a grim reminder of a gray area of memory she has strived to cover for years. Not all crowns glitter under the lights. There are crowns woven with empathy, compassion, and the scars of the past. Catherine's gesture inadvertently stirred up an old energy current, where the priorities of the people's hearts seem to always have a distinct destination regardless of official titles. A major question arises in our thought lab. Can this moment be reversed, or has it created a permanent rupture in the soft power structure of the monarchy? Unverified public opinion suggests this is not merely a coincidence. It is the culmination of a system of accumulated tension that began long before these crowns appeared on the front pages of newspapers. To decipher this long-standing divide, we need to peel back the layers of data about a chaotic relationship, a complex history built on expectations, undercurrents of rivalry, and the harsh rules of survival behind the velvet curtain. When we peel back the layers of this power structure, we encounter invisible variables capable of shifting the entire emotional landscape. First, there is the power of a legacy aura, where the characteristic frequencies of Diana's legacy seem to have been fully absorbed by Catherine, creating a significant visual overshadowing of existing mainstream realities. This resonance leads to the rise of emotional legitimacy, a voluntary and powerful choice on the part of the public, which inadvertently makes official titles sometimes less significant in contemporary social discussions. Ultimately, all these elements are set against the backdrop of historical fissures, underlying contradictions that have existed since the past, transforming a piece of jewelry from an inanimate object into a psychological trigger, reigniting deep debates about the status and value of each entity within the flow of time. Tension is believed to have begun the moment Prince William introduced a new figure into the royal inner circle. Let's consider a hypothesis about the system's defense mechanism. Some unverified sources suggest that the anxiety stems not from the individual's personality, but from the structural origins of this person. In an environment built on strict lineage structures, the entry of an individual outside the traditional aristocracy into the center of power created a major upheaval. To observers, this was a case of cultural genetic incompatibility. To understand this tension, we need to analyze two entirely different operating models. Consider Queen Camilla's journey. It was fraught with pressure, harsh judgment, and persistent effort to gain acceptance from the system. Her position was not a gift, but the result of a decades-long struggle. Conversely, the new figure, Catherine, emerged with a peculiar ability, almost instantaneous capture of public sentiment. Was there a systemic injustice at play when one person sacrifices their entire life for recognition, while another receives overwhelming support overnight? It inevitably creates unavoidable flow pressures between the two entities. Would this difference in origin and path to power create a permanent rift in the structure of the modern monarchy? Or was this a necessary evolutionary process for the system to connect with the outside world? This isn't just the story of two women. It's a clash between the old value of steadfastness and the new value of spreading awareness. This information is for reference only based on unverified hypotheses and rumors/public opinions. Let's discuss this issue from an objective, analytical perspective. Will the rise of the new symbol permanently change the structure of the dynasty or merely ripples in the power struggle? Share your thoughts? Press 1. If you want to delve deeper into these secrets, press 0. If you are skeptical about the layers of mystery, remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next journeys. Thank you for your support. The online community have been buzzing about a hypothesis, a moment of profound impact, a moment that is said to have shaken the very foundations of tradition. It seems that months of silence have been broken, not with a dry press release, but with a voice carrying undercurrents of emotion. Numerous unverified sources suggest that a woman traditionally considered a symbol of composure, the Princess of Wales, has chosen an unprecedented path to protect the most fundamental values of motherhood. Is there a secret hidden behind these seemingly perfect royal portraits? Let's analyze the controversial data. Amidst the flow of public events, questions are beginning to arise about the absence of a little star in the family. From Easter events to commemorative photographs, a strange pattern seems to have formed. Particularly suspicious is a family photo, where image experts believe algorithmic editing has been used. The question here isn't just, where is the boy? But, why does the truth need to be covered with such elaborate layers of paint? Some theories suggest that this is not simply a physical absence, but rather a top-secret protection against a fragile reality that the palace is not yet ready to reveal. If the rumors are true, then this could be a revolution in thinking within those gilded walls. The image of a mother standing up, overcoming all the barriers of tradition to protect her child's special status, has created a powerful wave of emotion. Insiders suggest that this is not just about releasing information, but a declaration of transparency. It's a moment where the naked truth confronts the glitz and glamour of power. A crack has appeared in the system of information control, and the person who created it is none other than the most beloved figure. Is this the beginning of a new royal era, where truth reigns supreme over ritual, or merely another sad chapter in the history of long-established dynasties? The secret trips to medical facilities and the unusual silence of palace aides remain major unanswered questions. What do you think about the theories surrounding this event? Was Catherine's decision to speak out really the right step to protect her family? Please leave your opinion in the comments so we can discuss it together. The final straw, from the perspective of many observers, was the moment a solitary figure was captured, leaving the back entrance of a highly secure pediatric facility. Through the lenses of the paparazzi, a very different Catherine was seen, head bowed, withdrawn, and surrounded by unidentified steel machines. The palace chose to remain silent, but in the modern world, silence can sometimes be the most powerful form of communication. That photograph was not just a data file. It was a symbol of simmering anxiety, a testament to the undercurrents that had begun to pound the foundations of steadfastness. Mysteries are often not solved by public inquiry, but sometimes are revealed by a cruel twist of fate. There are theories that an accidental crack in a heavily guarded internal storage system allowed a file labeled "Top Secret" to slip out of the shadows. This appears to be less of a deliberate conspiracy and more of an administrative error, a momentary lapse in the vast machinery of operation. An internal memo containing identities and words of immense weight inadvertently fell into the mailbox of someone who should never have seen it. From there, an irreversible chain reaction began. This leaked document, if real, has opened a new lens through which to view the reality of the youngest prince. Instead of well wishes, the page was filled with dry medical jargon, the progression of symptoms, tracking the long-term roadmap, or abstract concepts about differences in neurological development. What is even more noteworthy is not just the medical diagnoses, but the strategy known as controlled narrative management. This raises a philosophical question. Why would a child's natural development require a communication strategy as complex as a military campaign? Could it be that behind those gilded walls, the truth is being weighed and measured to conform to the mold of royal power? As soon as these pieces of the puzzle reached London's insiders, a real shockwave erupted behind closed doors. Telephone lines blazed and legal barriers were erected with lightning speed to stop the flow of information. But it seemed the dike of security had begun to crack beyond repair. An emergency meeting, a survival summit, was convened under the highest command. It wasn't just an effort to protect a medical record, but a battle to preserve the dignity and image of an institution against the pressure of the unvarnished truth. In the war between the right to know of the public and the right to be protected, what are the most humane boundaries regarding a child's privacy? Is the palace's excessive control of information protecting Prince Louis, or has this very secrecy inadvertently thrust him into the eye of speculation? At a summit where power is highly concentrated, presence is often mandatory. Yet the focus of all attention is on one particular individual. Vast, empty space. The chair reserved for Catherine remained empty, raising a bigger question than any explanation could offer. P. Analysts have put forward a bold hypothesis. Is this a withdrawal to preserve emotions, or is it the silent strike? Defying a strict security system. Whispers in the hallways suggest that the woman who had always adhered to the rules may have known about the existence of the sensitive documents long ago, and her silence regarding the leak was her way of letting the truth find its way out. The recent leak has exposed an undeniable reality. The presence of the youngest prince is not simply an ordinary part of life, but seems to have become a part of it all. A tightly managed media project. People are beginning to doubt the authenticity of those smiles on camera. Could there be a meticulously staged script behind it designed to conceal a dark area that the palace believes the public is not yet ready to accept? The biggest question now is no longer about health, but about the ethics of transparency. The tension reached its peak behind closed doors, where an unprecedented confrontation is said to have erupted. Witnesses recounted that Princess Anne, who was considered a symbol of unwavering steadfastness and absolute loyalty, chose to break all protocol. In a moment when emotion overpowered reason, she confronted the head of the monarchy, not as a subject, but as an aunt seeking redress, the right to live authentically for her grandson. Accusations of a calculated silence and a betrayal of honesty rang out, shaking even the most solid stone walls. When the head of the monarchy offered arguments about preserving the image and state secrets, Anne posed a fateful question. Can a throne built on silence withstand the storms of faith? The moment she left the meeting, marked by signs of emotion, was not merely an act of departure, but a clear polarization. It seemed that Catherine's most loyal confidant had chosen to side with her with the naked truth rather than the veils of deception. We often say, "The truth will set us free." But in the world of supreme power, is truth a gift or a fire that can consume everything? In her most solitary moments, it is believed that a powerful whisper became Catherine's last refuge. Do what your conscience tells you to do. It wasn't just advice, but permission for her to step outside established norms. Many theories suggest that Catherine had prepared a final plan, an irreversible act, to protect what she held dearest. And at the heart of that event was a tangible yet powerful object, a handwritten letter hidden beneath layers of family mementos in a place even the closest could hardly reach. Without royal insignia or garish red seals, the letter was simply words on cream-colored paper. But hidden behind that simplicity was something, a powerful wave of repressed emotions. It is said that the letter was found by chance during a rearrangement of private spaces in Kensington. The opening lines were a painful apology. "If you find these words, I probably won't have the courage to face you directly anymore. That's not a press release, that's a confessions of the soul." In those pages, Catherine is said to have poured out her heart about a parallel reality unknown to the world. It describes long nights facing terrifying silence and the desperate search for hope from professionals under anonymous identities to avoid media scrutiny. Most painful of all are the descriptions of a child forcing a smile in front of the camera while inside a fragile reality was slowly crumbling. The letter exposed a harsh truth. The price of royal perfection sometimes comes at the cost of sacrificing one's most genuine human emotions. Catherine did not direct any reproach at William. On the contrary, she described him as a solid pillar upon which the entire system rested. However, she also bravely exposed the cracks in his soul. Behind his imposing public image, this man is said to have endured intense inner struggles immersed in the silence of the palace walls. This is a deeply humane and insightful observation, showing that even those at the pinnacle of power are merely ordinary human beings in the face of family pain. If this letter truly exists, is it a warning for the future of the dynasty? Can a dynasty continue to exist based on staged smiles, or is it time for truth to be respected as the most fundamental value? How do you feel about the pain of a mother having to choose between national duty and the call of her heart? If you see her as a symbol of courage, leave a 2. If you are skeptical about truth and tradition, leave a 5. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next discoveries. Your support is the strength that brings the truth to light. Catherine used her final strokes to paint a completely different portrait of her husband. Not a powerful prince, but a father with trembling hands, sleepless nights, and quiet moments by his son's bedside as night fell. It was a silent presence, a desperate attempt to rediscover a glimmer of family warmth amidst a cold royal court. Those who have read the letter cannot help but feel sorrow at the weight of these words. The boy was slowly fading into the shadows, yet they still demanded that he smile. That statement was not merely a sigh, it was an exposure of an invisible but ruthless pressure where public image was placed above human suffering. Insiders suggest that when the letter reached William at Sandringham, the place holding the most innocent childhood memories, a pivotal change occurred. For hours, time seemed to stand still. There were no heated arguments, no rational resistance. As William emerged from the room, his face pale, he seemed to have made a tacit decision. He stopped struggling with Catherine's maternal instincts. He stepped back, allowing her to speak the truth. For the letter was not just a personal account, it was an emotional testament. The palace demanded ultimate transparency. However, while the palace was still striving to maintain its impeccable facade, an unexpected act from a controversial figure turned everything upside down. After years of estrangement and seemingly irreparable rifts, a brief but powerful message arrived from the other side of the world. You. Many sources claim that it was the younger brother who had previously abdicated the throne who decided not to stand idly by. With the experience of someone who had tasted the suffocating grip of secrecy, he sent a haunting message: "I understand the feeling of being kept in the dark. Let's not let history repeat itself." From thousands of miles away, the exiled prince witnessed the media storm raging against his sister-in-law and nephew. He recognized the terrifying similarities between the current media machine and what he had once faced. This time, he didn't choose the palace's official diplomatic channels. He opted for a more direct approach, breaking traditional rules to create a seismic shockwave. This intervention not only shook the crown, but also forced those in power to confront a question: is the silence meant to protect the dynasty, or is it actually destroying the people within it? Will the appearance of the prodigal son be the spark that burns away the remnants of old rituals, or will it be the bridge to mend a family on the brink of collapse? As alliances shift and truth begins to leak through the cracks of the throne, who will truly hold Louis's future in their hands? In a system where every communication is filtered through layers of stringent administrative barriers, an event reportedly occurred that completely altered the landscape. Without warning, without intermediaries, a digital bridge was built across the Atlantic. Insiders speculated about a lengthy conversation, 37 minutes a period, long enough for the royal masks to fall off. P. It wasn't a call between a prince and a princess, but a connection between two people who had once been plagued by the same thing, silence, in the name of loyalty. Many sources believe that it was Catherine's younger brother, often labeled a rebel, who used his own scars to illuminate her path. He shared his feelings of being marginalized and the price of turning silence into a kind of religion for survival. The core message being conveyed is deeply thought-provoking. The world will never understand pain unless you allow it to speak. In that moment, Catherine's hesitation seemed to vanish, giving way to a new resolve, a shift in mindset that no ritual could prevent. However, every act of changing reality comes with aftershocks. Thousands of miles away from London, this private conversation is said to have created a clash of viewpoints within Harry's own home. Psychological theories suggest that when old boundaries are broken, it inadvertently creates new anxieties about safety and personal principles. A tense dialogue erupted, recalling the reasons for past separations. But for Harry, this wasn't a political maneuver, but an effort, breaking the cycle of tragedy. What he saw in Lewis's eyes, a painful reflection from his own childhood. Later, those close to Catherine said that she regarded those words as a guide during her darkest moments. It wasn't just empathy, but an affirmation that the truth, however painful, remains the only path to freedom. R.I. That 37-minute phone call became one of the most closely guarded secrets, yet its influence was evident in every subsequent step taken by the Princess of Wales. Could a call from the exiled truly be the key to unlocking the palace's prison of truth? And as old alliances crumbled to make way for new understandings, what would the monarchy face next? The pressure from the surrounding walls nearly forced Catherine to retreat. But in her loneliest moment, a hand from the past pulled her forward. It wasn't an act of revenge, but an understanding of the price of silence. The aftershocks of that call were so great that it shattered the ice between the two brothers already fractured by history. For the first time in months, a direct conversation took place between William and Harry, without intermediaries or aides. While it couldn't heal all wounds immediately, it opened a door that had been believed to be permanently closed. As resistance within the palace grew, a survival move was made from the very center of power. Just hours before the truth was scheduled to be revealed, a legal shadow fell over the dynasty. 2:43 a.m. a secret order was issued bearing the name Immediate Red Category Intervention Protocol. This is not merely an administrative document. It is a desperate attempt to silence an individual's voice in the name of institutional stability. The sole objective to prevent Catherine's speech at all costs. To justify this action, the legal system employed a controversial tactic, doubting the other person's sanity. They sought to construct a psychological profile suggesting Catherine was operating in a state of instability, thereby undermining the legitimacy of her upcoming statements. This was a direct blow to her standing not only as a member of the royal family, but also as a mother. They revived an ancient clause forgotten for nearly 70 years, allowing the monarch to intervene in internal communications if they were deemed a threat to the survival of the monarchy. The faded ink on outdated documents has been brought out to challenge the modern-day yearning for transparency. The palace is staking its reputation on a risky power game. They are not just fighting an individual, they are fighting against themselves, public conscience. Even the sharpest strategic minds in the palace began to waver. It became clear that this was no longer a mere security measure, but had become a major undertaking: suppression of voices. It took place right in the heart of the kingdom. All the pressure now rested on William's shoulders. He was summoned for one final mission to stop his partner before the crack became irreparable. However, after navigating through the fog of truth, William delivered a chilling response enough to freeze the hopes of the conservatives. If an institution must collapse because of the truth, then perhaps it deserves it. When tensions reached their breaking point, an unexpected trigger appeared. An aide, in a moment of awakening to conscience, decided to bring the gagging protocol to light. In the blink of an eye, the world witnessed an unprecedented virtual parade. #, let Catherine speak up. It became a global wave breaking down all media barriers. From social activists to ordinary citizens, everyone formed a public opinion siege, forcing the palace to confront the truth. Amidst that storm, the head of the monarchy reportedly retreated to Balmoral. Was it a retreat for reflection or an acknowledgement that control of the narrative had completely slipped from his grasp? The dam had broken. The world wasn't just watching, it was demanding a humane answer. And Catherine, standing silently in the eye of the storm, chose to step into the light. In that historic moment, there were no guards, no flamboyant ceremonial attire, and no gleaming royal insignia. In front of the camera stood only one woman, a mother preparing to speak from the beat of her heart, not from a prepared script. It wasn't the Princess of Wales reading the announcement, but a naked Catherine, faced with the truth. Her voice trembling, but possessing the strength of a mountain, she confirmed what millions had feared. The youngest prince was facing a different neurorealities, a rare syndrome that has permanently altered the course of their family's lives. She didn't use dry medical jargon. She spoke of sleepless nights, missed milestones in life, and silent prayers in the dark. But what broke the hearts of her listeners most was her confession about forced silence. She revealed details of meetings where a mother's tears flowed in the name of the stability of the monarchy. When the truth is finally spoken from the lips of someone who has kept it hidden for too long, will the crown still shine as brightly as before? Or is this the beginning of a new era where sincerity becomes the most valuable asset of a modern monarchy? Catherine's final message is not just an explanation. It is a call to action. Ethical settlement. In a system that prioritizes ritual over humanity, she not only speaks for her own flesh and blood, but also represents all innocent souls born into the cruel light of fate, where the burden of expectations rests upon them from their very first breath. She demanded a radical change, making compassion the guiding principle instead of rigid rules. It was the moment the world realized that behind those impenetrable iron gates were not distant entities, but a mother willing to sacrifice all her titles to protect dignity for her child. Midway through the speech, one sentence resonated with millions, shattering the illusion of royal separation. "You are still my only joy, and I will never let you face the darkness alone." In just 12 short minutes, Catherine not only spoke to one nation, she changed the world. It was no longer a typical royal news broadcast, but a turning point in humanism. The power of sincere words shattered even the most carefully orchestrated scenarios of the monarchy. The world's reaction was like an emotional tsunami. Television programs were interrupted and the internet was flooded with prayers. People wept, not only for a young prince they had never met, but for the courage of a mother who dared to stand up and tear apart the veil of secrecy. Candles were lit everywhere as a symbol of solidarity. The distance between commoners and royalty seemed to vanish in that moment, giving way to a sacred connection based on pain and pure love. However, while the world was stirred by her message inside the palace, an eerie silence reigned. The gilded corridors now carry a heavy atmosphere of final confrontation. With the secret dam broken, how will the machinery of power react to salvage what remains? Or is this the beginning of the collapse of an old way of life? What unfolds behind those closed doors could completely redefine the future of the crown, a future whose truth has now become clear. It became an uncontrollable variable. Following Catherine's shocking confession, the opulent corridors, usually filled with the sounds of discussions, fell into an eerie silence. This wasn't an attack from an external enemy, but an explosion from the very heart of the system, where the truth was uttered by the woman once considered the most silent pillar. Overnight, a nationwide purge of beliefs took place. Fiery questions began to grapple with core values. Why would an institution claiming to protect demand silence from a mother FE? This rift was not limited to legal texts. It had seeped into the very core of loyalty which had long been taken for granted. Faced with the threat to his throne, the king made an unprecedented decision: retreat into the shadows of contemplation. The suspension of official duties was not merely for reflection, but also symbolic of the weight of truth that had caused the monarchy to falter. Meanwhile, William and Catherine chose a deliberate pause. There were no flashy trips, no smiles for the cameras. This wasn't a strike, but an affirmation that the royal performance cannot continue when its heart is bleeding. Their absence was the most powerful answer, garnering profound sympathy from across the continent. This seismic shift forced the advisory apparatus to undertake a major overhaul of the rules. The concept of royal minors is being redefined. Discussions are beginning about restoring peace to these children, freeing them from prearranged scenarios until adulthood. Scrutiny no longer stops at public opinion, but has surged into the halls of Parliament. Questions regarding transparency and financial resources are being raised with a resolve firmer than ever before. An institution once considered immune to investigation must now face the mirror of truth and the weight of accountability. Amidst the ruins of outdated rules, the image of Catherine emerges more radiant than ever. She is honored not for her title, but for her crown of courage. The newspaper and the people bestowed upon her the highest honor, Queen of the people's hearts. This event sparked speculation about an earlier-than-expected transfer of power. Could this be the beginning of a comprehensive reform where William and Catherine would step up as architects of a transparent future? Though the palace maintained a tight silence, the resonance of Catherine's voice created a new reality, one where sincerity reigned supreme. This information is for reference only based on hypotheses and unverified public rumors or opinions. Let's discuss this through the lens of objective analysis. Truth does not always lie in what we see, but in what we feel. If you believe that a mother's compassion can shake the foundations of an entire dynasty, press 1. If you remain skeptical amidst the thickening mist, press 0. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can continue our journey of decoding the profound echoes of history. Some scars never truly fade. They just lie dormant, waiting for their moment to speak. Welcome back. Today, we aren't talking about glittering crowns or royal galas. Instead, we're stepping into the shadows to the very moment Prince William and Prince Harry finally shattered decades of silence. What was powerful enough to make two princes lay bare their deepest grief for their mother, Princess Diana? What secrets were buried beneath those public smiles? Join me as we turn the pages of a chapter that has remained untold until now. After so many years of quiet reflection, they eventually discovered the courage to speak, not just about grief, but about growing up healing, and the comforting belief that their mother's spirit still guides them from a distance. And what about you? Have you ever gone through a loss that reshaped who you are and helped you become stronger the way William did? If you have, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss future videos filled with heartfelt and inspiring royal stories like this one. William once came across a file he was never meant to read. Yet the moment he opened it, his perception of the events surrounding that historic night in 1997 shifted in ways he had never imagined. Inside were overlooked notes, an unpublished document, and a series of unusual details that appeared to link Princess Diana's quiet concerns with individuals she had long placed her confidence in. The incident inside the Pont de l'Alma tunnel was remembered by many not only as a heartbreaking loss, but also as a moment surrounded by unanswered questions. Some viewed it as a tragic coincidence, others as a simple accident, while many felt there were layers the public might never fully understand. At approximately 12:25 a.m. in Paris, the car carrying Princess Diana, her companion Dodi Al-Fayed, bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones, and driver Henri Paul collided with one of the tunnel's pillars. In a single instant, what had begun as an ordinary evening transformed into a sorrowful event that captured the attention of the entire world. The announcement traveled with astonishing speed by 4 a.m. Leading television networks throughout Europe and North America were breaking into their scheduled broadcasts to deliver the news of Princess Diana's passing. Outside Kensington Palace, crowds of grieving admirers gathered without pause. In less than 10 days, the sea of tribute flowers had risen to nearly 5 feet high, turning the gates into a powerful symbol of collective remembrance. Questions quickly followed. Why would Diana, known for being careful in public, have chosen not to fasten her seatbelt that night? Why were none of the tunnel's traffic cameras able to provide a clear record of the crash, and was driver Henri Paul truly impaired, as early reports suggested, when some observers later said he seemed composed? The official French investigation released in 1999 concluded that Henri Paul had a blood alcohol level significantly above the legal limit and had also been taking prescription medication, findings that shaped the final public understanding of the incident. Yet conflicting details and the accounts of people who were there kept public curiosity alive, making it difficult for doubts to fully disappear. The princess's passing was not only a national shock, but also a deeply personal loss that left a lasting mark on Prince William. As the years moved forward, however, pieces of information that once seemed hidden gradually began to surface. Lady Sarah McCorquodale, Diana's older sister, had maintained near-total silence for decades, but during a private family gathering in 2023, she chose to share her thoughts openly for the very first time. She shared that she had once been the person who introduced Diana to Prince Charles long before history placed their names side by side. In fact, she herself had briefly dated Charles in earlier years. A light-hearted comment Sarah reportedly made at the time, saying she would not marry Charles no matter his position, quietly brought their own relationship to an end, and without anyone realizing it, then opened the door to a union that would later become one of the most talked about and complex marriages of its era. A private letter Princess Diana penned to her sister Sarah in 1993, later uncovered by William, brought several unsettling insights to light. In her words, she described the pain of being valued more as a public symbol than as a person who needed genuine affection. She compared her role to that of someone quietly bearing burdens for the sake of tradition and expectation. References to emotional distance, lingering tensions around close relationships, and a vague sense that difficult times were ahead left readers reflecting on the hidden pressures behind royal life. Sarah safeguarded the letter for 3 decades, its existence unknown, until William reached out himself seeking clarity about the past. More than a quarter of a century after Princess Diana's passing, the unanswered questions still linger not only among the public, but within the lives of her 2 sons as well. Whatever the full truth may ultimately reveal, one certainty endures: the princess's legacy continues to resonate, shaping conversations and memories even today. She stood not only as a global emblem of compassion, but also as the portrait of a devoted mother, a woman willing to live honestly, to love with courage, and to voice her inner truth despite the pressures around her. In a personal handwritten note to her sister, Sarah, Princess Diana reflected on emotional distance in her marriage, the complicated atmosphere surrounding Prince Charles, and the growing unease created by the constant attention around Camilla Parker Bowles. Sarah later acknowledged that she had not fully grasped the seriousness of those sentiments at the time, only understanding their weight in the years that followed a tragic turn of events. Sarah finally spoke out, not from guilt, but after a heartfelt talk with Prince William in early 2023. When he asked what his mother had shared that summer, she became emotional and gave him the long-kept letter. She admitted she once thought it wasn't important, but later realized it was. That brief exchange changed how William viewed the last years of his mother's life. For the first time, Prince William no longer viewed it as a single tragic accident, but as the result of a long chain of painful circumstances. At the heart of it was the emotional strain that deeply affected Princess Diana. The story, he realized, was shaped less by places and more by private tensions, quiet phone calls, discreet encounters, and the constant public attention surrounding Camilla Parker Bowles that followed Diana throughout those years. As early as 1980, when Princess Diana was only 19 and just stepping into preparations for royal life, the connection between Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles had not fully faded. Unease quietly grew in Diana's heart when only weeks after the wedding she came across personal photos, handwritten notes, and a bracelet marked with the initials GF, a private nickname that hinted at a bond she had not expected to find. That discovery left Princess Diana deeply shaken. In later private reflections, she spoke about how her eating struggles began around that time as stress quietly affected both her health and confidence. Living inside the vast halls of Buckingham Palace, She often described feeling isolated and emotionally unsupported despite the grandeur surrounding her. While Diana tried to endure her difficulties quietly, Prince Charles continued to balance public duties with complicated personal relationships, including ongoing attention around Camilla Parker Bowles. During this period, Diana's emotional distress was sometimes misunderstood, and she increasingly felt reduced to a public image rather than recognized as a person with genuine feelings and vulnerabilities. It wasn't until her 1995 televised interview that Diana finally voiced what many had only whispered for years, delivering a line that echoed around the world. There were 3 people in the marriage, and the weight of that admission shook long-standing traditions. To the public, she appeared graceful and unshaken, yet behind the polished smile, she was fighting a quiet emotional storm. She later explained that her personal choices were less about romance and more about reclaiming a sense of identity, a reminder that even those surrounded by fame can struggle deeply to feel seen and valued. A trusted confidant once recalled her saying that if affection felt out of reach, she would at least command respect, a statement that revealed more vulnerability than anger. In 1994, when she stepped into the spotlight at the Serpentine Gallery wearing the sleek black dress that would later become legendary, the timing spoke volumes. That same night, a televised admission from Charles drew global attention, and her appearance instantly shifted the narrative. The outfit was more than style. It became a quiet declaration of confidence and self-possession, a visual reminder that dignity and poise can sometimes speak louder than any words. Even while projecting confidence before the world, Diana carried private heartache that few truly understood. In a 1996 note to her therapist, she described how constant public attention often left her emotionally drained, as if every camera flash asked more of her than she had to give. When she later crossed paths with Dodi Al-Fayed, it seemed less about romance and more about searching for peace and a brief refuge from relentless scrutiny. The chapter that followed became a solemn reminder that fame can magnify both light and shadow, and that behind every headline is a human story shaped by pressure, hope, and the universal need for understanding. That evening came to symbolize more than a single moment of turmoil. Many later viewed it as the culmination of difficult decisions, missed cautions, and unresolved tensions that had been building for years. What followed was not only shock, but a lingering quiet that seemed to settle over public life and royal corridors alike. By early 1996, Diana had gradually stopped molding herself to expectations that no longer fit who she was becoming. Her marriage to Charles, formally concluded after Queen Elizabeth II, encouraged both sides to move toward separation in late 1995, and the legal process reached its final chapter in August 1996, marking not just an end, but the beginning of a new, uncertain independence. After losing the title of princess and the shield of constant royal security, Diana stepped into a strange new spotlight. She appeared more independent and approachable, yet beneath that freedom lay a deep sense of exposure. The pressures she once endured quietly began to reshape her spirit. What started as sorrow slowly evolved into a determination to reclaim control of her own story. She stopped concealing her feelings, her public appearances, and even her frustrations. In journal entries written between January and May of 1997, she reflected on a powerful emotional journey moving from heartbreak and uncertainty toward a stronger, more defiant sense of self-worth and personal resolve. She began to speak openly about her desire to step into the media spotlight, win worldwide sympathy, and reshape how the public viewed the royal institution. Rather than waiting for formal invitations, she often arrived at public events on her own terms, instantly drawing cameras and headlines wherever she went. A trusted confidant later shared that she once described the intense media attention as the only tool I still control. What many dismissed as impulsive behavior gradually revealed itself to be something far more calculated, a thoughtful strategy carefully designed rather than driven by emotion alone. In June 1997, Diana organized a remarkable auction of 79 of her iconic gowns at Christie's in New York, raising more than $5.7 million for charities supporting people affected by AIDS and cancer. Beyond its charitable success, the event quietly symbolized a personal turning point, a graceful farewell to chapters of her life that no longer defined her. Only days later, she introduced the world to a new companion, Dodi Al-Fayed, son of Egyptian businessman Mohammed Al-Fayed. The unexpected announcement stirred intense public curiosity and lively debate, signaling that her story was entering an entirely new phase filled with change and bold independence. Images of Diana and Dodi relaxing aboard a yacht on the French Riviera circulated across newspapers and television screens within hours, turning a private getaway into a global spectacle. Observers noted that the timing seemed intentional, as if the photographs themselves carried a subtle statement about her newfound freedom and independence. By August 1997, the level of media attention surrounding her had intensified to an extraordinary degree, with reporters tracking nearly every move and rumor. Commentators at the time suggested that such relentless scrutiny reflected growing concerns about public perception and national image, highlighting how closely the lives of public figures and the power of the press had become intertwined. Some observers worried that Diana might choose a life far beyond Britain's borders, building a new future and making deeply personal decisions that would once again place her under the world's microscope. Aware of the constant attention surrounding her, she did not retreat from it. Instead, she met it with determination. In a private note dated late August, she expressed a simple but powerful resolve that her voice and her choices would remain her own no matter the pressure. This mindset marked a period of courage and self-assertion, showing a woman intent on shaping her own path rather than being defined by the expectations of others. The night of August 30th, 1997 marked a fateful journey from the Ritz Hotel to the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, one defined by a string of puzzling decisions, lost moments, and a series of missteps that could have been avoided. Diana and Dodi had enjoyed a quiet dinner at the Ritz Paris, a luxury hotel owned by Dodi's family. The plan was to retreat to Dodi's nearby apartment just a few minutes away by car. However, the paparazzi had already been waiting outside the hotel for hours, relentless in their pursuit. In an attempt to throw off the press, a decoy car was sent out first, while Diana Dodi and bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones slipped out through a back exit. The car they chose for the ride was a 1990 Mercedes-Benz S280, driven by Henri Paul, the deputy head of security at the Ritz. According to hotel staff, Paul had indulged in 2 glasses of Ricard Pastis and at least 3 beers earlier that evening. Later tests revealed his blood alcohol level was over 1.75 grams per liter, more than 3 times the legal limit in France. Yet despite these concerning signs, Diana and Dodi trusted him behind the wheel. In a troubling twist, neither of them wore seatbelts, something unusual for Diana, who was typically known for her cautious approach to car safety. At approximately 12:20 a.m., the car began its journey entering the Pont de l'Alma tunnel just 4 minutes later. What transpired inside that tunnel remains a subject of intense debate to this day. The Mercedes crashed violently into the 13th pillar, estimated to be traveling at a speed of 65 miles per hour, about 105 kilometers per hour. Doty died instantly at the scene, while Henry Paul remained trapped behind the wheel. Trevor Rees-Jones sustained severe facial injuries, but against all odds survived the crash. Diana, still alive, was left trapped in the wreckage. Rescue workers later reported that she was conscious, whispering in pain as they tried to free her. Diana was extracted from the wreckage at 1 a.m., but instead of being immediately rushed to the hospital, she was treated at the scene for a full 40 minutes, a decision that has sparked controversy and is believed by many to have cost her a real chance at survival. Adding to the mystery surrounding the crash is the absence of any security footage. Despite the Pont de l'Alma tunnel being equipped with 14 cameras, none were operational that night. French authorities later explained that the system was outdated and crucially didn't record any images. To make matters worse, a traffic camera positioned directly above the tunnel was also malfunctioning that evening, leaving critical moments unrecorded. The absence of footage only deepened the suspicion surrounding the incident. In private notes later found by her son William, Diana had written in June 1997, "If I die in a car accident, check the cameras. That will be where the answers lie." Yet those cameras, crucial to uncovering the truth, were not functioning, leaving the questions unanswered. As the media spun various theories, William steadfastly rejected their explanations. Almost 3 decades later, in a quiet, determined investigation, he uncovered many long-buried truths hidden within classified files, shedding new light on the events that have haunted his family for so long. In 2004, the Metropolitan Police Service in London launched an official investigation called Operation Paget, led by Lord John Stevens, aimed at uncovering the truth behind Princess Diana's death. The investigation delved into over 175 allegations, interviewed more than 300 witnesses, and reviewed thousands of documents from both the UK and France. However, it wasn't until 2023 that Prince William, accessing the files, discovered a piece of evidence that would immediately capture his attention: a handwritten letter from his mother, Princess Diana, dated October 1993. The contents of that letter would prove to be a crucial part of the puzzle he was determined to solve. The letter, entrusted to her butler, Paul Burrell, contained a chilling message from Princess Diana: "My husband is planning an accident with my car. Brake failure and severe head injury." Diana believed that the motive behind this was to eliminate her and pave the way for Charles to marry the woman he loved, Camilla. At the time, many dismissed her words as the result of her deep fears and anxieties, but the details in the letter were unsettlingly specific and terrifying. In hindsight, those words now resonate with a haunting clarity. For 11 years, Mr. Burrell kept the letter hidden, only revealing it after Diana's death. Shockingly, it had never been included in the official royal files until William requested a review. As part of his investigation, William also revisited the claims made by Mohammed Al-Fayed, who had alleged that Diana and Doty were being closely monitored. According to declassified documents, MI6 agents were active in Paris the night of the accident. One agent in particular was said to have recorded Diana's every move in real time, raising even more questions about the circumstances surrounding her tragic death. Even more shocking, many of these records were either deleted or blurred in the final public report access, to which William had to fight tirelessly to obtain. What do you think? Is this just a coincidence? Or is there something more being hidden? If you sense something suspicious at play, leave a 2 in the comments. If you believe it was simply a tragic accident, Comment 5. And if you're as intrigued as we are in uncovering the truth, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next updates on this unfolding journey. This is purely for reference purposes, only based on hypotheses and unverified rumors/public opinion. Let's discuss it from an objective, analytical perspective. For years, rumors have swirled that Meghan Markle's relationship with her mother, Doria Ragland, is far from harmonious. In recent public appearances, Doria seemed reluctant and visibly uncomfortable being pushed into the spotlight by her daughter, the woman once dubbed the fake Duchess. It's a clear sign of the growing distance between them. The tension reached its peak when Meghan revealed a shocking confession from her own mother, changing the way the world saw her entirely. If you've ever wondered about the truth behind their complicated bond, leave a 1 in the comments and take another look at Meghan Markle's wedding photos this time. Look closely because every glance might hold a story of its own. We've known for a long time that Meghan Markle's relationship with her mother, Doria Ragland, hasn't been exactly smooth. In several recent public appearances, Doria appeared visibly uneasy, as if being pressured by her daughter, the so-called fake Duchess, to show up. What does that say about their relationship today? I'd say it's probably not in a good place. Since then, many events have unfolded, making the tension between mother and daughter increasingly evident. One striking moment came when Meghan accidentally revealed to the world that her mother, Doria Ragland, had made a shocking confession, one that completely changed everything we thought we knew about Meghan. Take a moment to revisit Meghan Markle's wedding photos. Don't just scroll past them, but look closely, because every frame might reveal more than meets the eye. One photo from the Windsor Castle wedding, attended by 600 guests, stands out immediately. Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, sat completely alone. No, this wasn't by chance, it was deliberate, and it tells a story most people have overlooked. Meghan didn't achieve this level of success on her own. It came through marrying a wealthy, powerful, and influential man, Prince Harry, which granted her entry into the world's most famous royal family. Picture the scene: the entire royal family seated on one side, mingling with Hollywood stars, while a single woman, Doria Ragland, quietly represented Meghan's family. Doria wasn't just a guest. She was the only member of the bride's family in attendance. It was an emotional, deeply symbolic moment, one that said everything without words. But soon after, reports surfaced that Doria attended a Beyoncé concert without Meghan, and without even telling her. It was a small act that spoke volumes, revealing the growing tension between mother and daughter. Now let's talk about Thomas Markle, the man who was supposed to walk Meghan down the aisle, but ended up causing one of the biggest pre-wedding scandals of the decade. Just 5 days before the ceremony, the world watched paparazzi photos showing Thomas preparing for the big day, reading newspapers about the royal wedding, trying on his tuxedo, and strolling around as if rehearsing for a Hollywood movie. But the shocking truth soon came out. Those images weren't spontaneous at all. They were staged, reportedly linked to a $100,000 payment and a carefully planned media scheme. Can you imagine it? The palace had planned every detail of the royal wedding with precision, and then this storm hit out of nowhere. The British press had a field day. Every major paper ran headlines questioning Thomas's motives, throwing the entire ceremony into chaos. The palace was forced to act quickly, seating arrangements, roles, timing, everything had to be reconsidered. And who stepped in to save the day? Prince Charles, calm, composed, and masterful, took Thomas's place at the last moment, walking Meghan down the aisle in what became a true royal rescue mission. If you agree that Prince Charles's gesture was a noble and heartfelt act, leave a 2 in the comments. But if you believe it was simply a clever political move by the royal family, comment 5, and share your thoughts. The drama didn't stop with Thomas. Meghan's half-siblings Samantha Markle and Thomas Jr. added even more fuel to the fire. Samantha, outspoken and unapologetic despite her struggles with multiple sclerosis, gave countless interviews claiming that fame had changed Meghan and that the royal spotlight had driven her away from her family. It all began to feel less like real life and more like a reality show playing out on live television. Thomas Jr. took things even further when he wrote an open letter directly to Prince Harry questioning whether Harry truly understood Meghan's family drama and warning him about the trouble that could unfold at the wedding. Imagine being Prince Harry reading that letter. It must have been infuriating. These public statements were no small matter. They forced the palace to address issues that were normally handled behind closed doors. For decades, royal weddings had been known for their flawless planning precision and carefully managed image. But suddenly, Meghan's family drama became international news, front-page headlines, viral debates on social media, and every word analyzed under a microscope. Amid all the turmoil, reports emerged that the tension between Meghan and her mother had reached a breaking point. Doria Ragland allegedly declared she'd had enough and decided to leave Meghan and Harry's Montecito mansion for good. According to Radar Online, Doria felt used by Meghan, especially when it came to caring for her two children, Archie and Lilibet. Sources claimed Meghan even pleaded with her mother, saying, "Don't leave me," as Doria packed her bags and walked away, leaving Meghan and Harry feeling abandoned. The 68-year-old yoga instructor had moved into the Sussexes' sprawling California estate in 2024 to help them through a difficult period, but now she reportedly longs to return to her own life and social circle in Los Angeles. Back on the wedding day at St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle with 600 guests, including royals, celebrities, and dignitaries, Doria Ragland sat quietly alone on the bride's side. While cameras captured every dazzling detail, it was Doria's calm presence that told the real story. She wasn't just attending, she was carrying the weight of Meghan's entire family on her shoulders, representing decades of a mother's love, guidance, and unwavering support. It was a quiet kind of strength, one that never sought attention, yet effortlessly commanded it. Doria remained calm amid the storm stirred up by her ex-husband Thomas Markle and Meghan's half-siblings. She became the emotional anchor, the only person capable of keeping the family grounded in the chaos. Meghan chose her mother as the sole representative of her family, avoiding the extended family drama and awkward seating arrangements, just one woman who had always been her source of strength through every trial. Although their mother-daughter bond was once very close, especially during the period when Doria lived with Meghan's family to offer support, her departure in July 2025 revealed clear signs of strain. Meghan still posted a birthday tribute to her mother on Instagram in September 2025, showing that they remained in contact, yet sources suggest Doria had grown weary of her daughter's constant drama. This may point to a more complex family dynamic, particularly as Meghan and Harry continue to face public and personal challenges, from losing major deals to enduring relentless media pressure. Harry has also seen Doria as a mother figure, a source of emotional strength and comfort. This was clearly reflected in Meghan's decision on her wedding day. While most royal weddings focus on filling seats, creating picture-perfect moments for the cameras and pleasing distant relatives, Meghan chose a different path. She made her mother, Doria Ragland, the sole representative of her family. There was no extended family drama, no awkward seating arrangements, just one woman who had been her steadfast support through every challenge. Doria was not just present, she was a symbol of loyalty and resilience. A source once said, "Doria is content with how the family is moving forward. She's ready to focus on her own life." Yet her presence alone was a quiet but powerful statement. It showed that family isn't about numbers, it's about presence, trust, and love. Doria embodied all of that. Sitting silently in St. George's Chapel, she conveyed a message stronger than any speech or toast could ever express. The palace clearly understood Doria's importance. They assigned staff specifically to ensure her comfort, guiding her through each step of the ceremony and making sure she was fully supported. Every detail from her seat placement to the timing was handled with precision and care. This wasn't just about logistics. It was a gesture of respect for the woman who had raised the bride. That respect was evident in every camera angle. The image of Doria sitting calmly on her own, carrying the weight of the family with quiet dignity, spoke volumes about Meghan's values more than any wedding gown, tiara, or bouquet ever could. However, tensions began to surface when Doria decided to move out of Meghan and Harry's Montecito mansion. According to one insider, she had grown tired of Meghan's constant complaints and drama and felt she was being used to care for her grandchildren Archie and Lilibet. It's hard to blame her at 68. The yoga instructor wanted to return to her own independent life and